If you like a big phone, get ready because the Sony Xperia Z has been in the office for a few days and we're doing a full video review. I'm Aaron Baker from PhoneDog.com and this is part one of the Sony Xperia Z Ultra full video review. When you look at it, it looks like a Sony Xperia Z on steroids, and that's exactly what Sony wants you to think here. This is the Sony Xperia Z Ultra, and this phone is big by all stretches of the imagination. I've got the Motorola X right here, Moto X right here, and you can see the size difference between this, which is a normal phone, and this, which really is a tablet phone. This is even breaking the boundaries in comparison to the Galaxy Note 2 and the Optimus G Pro. At 6.44 inches display-wise, you're getting dangerously close to that 7-inch area, which, at least up until now, has been reserved for tablets. The Xperia Z Ultra specs-wise, you're looking at an 8-megapixel camera with 1080p HD recording. You've got Android 4.2 Jelly Bean here with Sony's user interface. It's packing some pretty nice specs under the hood by way of processor. 2.2 gigahertz quad-core Snapdragon 800 CPU, so really a fast CPU all around on this device. You've got 2 gigabytes of RAM, a 3050 milliamp hour battery, but just the biggest issue here, I mean, maybe it's a good thing for you if you like that kind of thing, it's just a big phone. And I've been a fan of the phablet devices. You know that I like the Galaxy Note 2 and the Optimus G Pro. I've carried both as part of their 30-day challenges on the site. I like that form factor. I think it's great in a lot of different ways. This is just pushing it, though, even for somebody that likes that form factor like I do. Before I get too far into this, I want to thank my partners at Best Buy Mobile. They give us devices kind of like this, the Xperia Z, for example, the HTC One, and more, for use in our One-Pawed Bandit giveaway game. When you go into Best Buy Mobile, you'll walk out working. So you may not be able to get this, but later on down the road, when you get your Moto X at Best Buy Mobile, you'll walk out working and get your email, web, contacts, and more set up. So when you walk out the door, you are good to go, thanks to Best Buy Mobile. Xperia Z Ultra here, again, Android 4.2 Jelly Bean running atop this Sony's user interface that you can see here. Not called Timescape anymore, and much faster all around. I found that they've kind of integrated it well into Sony's landscape here from a marketing standpoint, and you still get the same Sony stuff out of the box. You get Walkman, you get things like Sony Select, you get album and movies, and we'll go in here and take a look just to see, and forgive me, I have to keep pulling it up and pulling it down to get it all into the camera lens. So you've got here album, you got, let's see what else, McAfee Security or McAfee Security, Neo Reader, movies, Reader by Sony, Social Life, Sony Select, Our Wedding Is Mine, Office Suite is out of the box. You get TuneIn Radio, Track ID, and then a couple of Japanese Sony as well, and then Sony over there. So a lot of Sony applications out of the box. This is an unlocked device. If you do want the Xperia Z Ultra, you can pick it up at negrielectronics.com, and special thanks to them for getting us this device. So really a big device. Functionality may be limited. If you want to put this in your pocket, it's going to be tough. Here is the iPhone 5 in comparison, for example, and you can see that the whole phone fits well into the display of the Sony Xperia Z Ultra. Speaking of display, 6.44-inch display here, 1080 by 1920 pixels, so a full 1080p HD display here with 344 ppi. Really a nice display all around, beautiful for content, just hard to put in the pocket. And I think that's going to be hard for a lot of people unless you want to carry this around perhaps as a secondary device and use this maybe when you're at home. So just loading up a quick YouTube video here. I'll load up PhoneDog so you can take a look and see how it looks on the display. And you can see this is going to be great for that type of stuff, be it content creation or YouTube watching. You can see here as it loads up, and I'm on AT&T's HSPA Plus network. And you can see right there what it looks like. So really a nice picture all around. On the back you got your 8-megapixel camera, and this is a thin device. You don't hear two Aarons, you only want to hear one Aaron. Very thin device all around. On-screen buttons here, and you can see 3.5mm headphone jack over on the right spine, power button, volume rocker. So design language very similar to the Xperia Z we saw at CES way back when. Micro SD card slot here. You move this to reveal both the micro SD card slot and the micro SIM card slot right there under the flap. And then on this side, you've got an area where you can put a dock. And then you've got, let's see what else over here, micro USB charging port right there, hidden by the flaps yet again, and that is what you get on that side. Nothing on the bottom with the exception of a speaker and a lanyard hole. So again, hard to hold in the hand comparison to other devices, but that said, it's really a beautiful display and it's got a lot of good qualities to it. So Sony's Timescape user interface here, and you can see the overall look and feel with the way that the menu looks. And I'll come down here and you can see the shortcuts over here as well. You got some shortcuts up top: sound, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, mobile data, settings. Because I'm running Android 4.2, you can see the notifications and the way that they look. And in settings, we'll jump right in and you can see it's categorized by wireless and networks, device. I've got personal, accounts, and then system all throughout here. So I've got power management, and I've got a lot of integration here, which we'll talk about in part 2, between Sony and of course this Xperia device. You've got a lot of connectivity options, and just jumping in here really briefly to give you the run through: start mirror link, throw settings, media server settings, DualShock 3, and USB connectivity. So you can wirelessly play content, for example, in your Xperia on other devices, share your contents with a Wi-Fi network. So Sony's kind of behind the game, at least right now, #1 on carriers in the US, but perhaps more importantly on really hyping up that ecosystem that Apple and Samsung have done such a good job at. I mean, Sony's got the TV ecosystem, they've got the PlayStation ecosystem, and you're starting to see that ecosystem filter its way into their mobile space, and I'd like to continue to see that as we move on. And we'll jump right into email so you can take a look at the keyboard here on the 6.44-inch display. So here is the Xperia keyboard, and it looks a lot like the Xperia Z that we've seen obviously from the previous device. No real changes here. You do have the swipe option built in out of the box, so you can say, "Hey there, how are you doing?" by swiping, or you can type. And I should point out, on this international version, you've got a couple of different keyboard options as well, including international Xperia keyboard for handwriting, and then the Xperia Chinese keyboard also. International, you can pick this up through Negri Electronics, again at negrielectronics.com. But another thing I really like that's brought over from the Sony Xperia Z, these little quick applications down here at the bottom. Now when I click on it, for example, you'll see Gmail pop up, and I can go ahead and say priority inbox, for example, and then it should load up. Let's see, maybe I don't have anything in that inbox. There we go. So you can see this, and I can move this Gmail around on the screen and multitask as I see fit. So I can continue to move through everything, and then I can just go right here and it brings me right into Gmail behind the scenes. So I've got that option. And that's with Gmail, that's with a bunch of different things. Again, we saw this on the Xperia Z. I can use Calculator, for example, so it brings some level of multitasking to the Xperia Z Ultra. Boom. I can go ahead and get rid of it if I want to. And I can add stuff as well just by clicking right here and adding applications from the Play Store or widgets as well. I can turn those into small apps and bring those down here into the menu. So I do like that feature a lot, and it's right here with the recent applications, which I can conveniently close out as well. Stick around for part 2. We'll talk about the camera, we'll talk about speed tests, and we'll talk about whether this device is worth the money, not just for bringing it in unlocked, but is it worth it in general for the size? We'll find out in part 2.